Hi guys, today we are going to be reading Front Desk Chapter 3. If you have the book, please use it. You will get a better understanding of the book. Now let's get to it. Sign here on the dotted line, Mr. Yao said to my parents, presenting them with an enormous employment contract 6 pages long. My parents beamed as they proudly signed their names. Mr. Yao took the signed employment contract and stuffed it into his bag. "Thank you so much, Mr. Yao, for giving us this opportunity," my father said. "You don't know how much this means to us." He got choked up as he said the words. "We promise we'll take good care of your motel," my mom added. "We won't let you down." Mr. Yao nodded and held up the manager keys to the motel. As my parents reached for the keys, he held them just out of reach. "Everything that happens in this motel is your responsibility. You understand?" he said. "Something breaks, you have to pay for it." My parents nodded. "Under no circumstance are you ever allowed to leave the motel unattended. Ever. One of you always must stay behind." Again, my parents nodded eagerly. Even though I was thinking, wait, what? I can't go out with both of my parents at the same time. But what about Disneyland? But it was condition number 3 that really made my jaw drop. Mr. Yao turned to me. "You can't use a pool, kid," he said. "Why not?" I asked. "If you use a pool, then all the customers will want to use a pool. So think of all the water and towels they'll be wasting," he said. "It's not good for the environment." I frowned at him. Somehow I doubted this was ever about the environment. "She understands. You won't use a pool, will you, Mia?" My mom shook her head at me. I glanced at my mom, at the desperation in her eyes. "Okay," I said. "Good," Mr. Yao grinned, satisfied. He tossed my parents the keys. That night, the sweet smell of Chinese jasmine tea filled the front office. My parents only ever get the jasmine tea out for special occasions. We had packed a small tin of it before we left China, and every time something good happened, my mom would take out a few leaves and make some tea. I guess not a lot of good things had happened, because there was still quite a lot left. But all that was about to change. Tonight my parents poured generously from the tin. The calming aroma brought me back to my grandmother's house. All of us crowding around the table at these big family dinners, and cousin Shen and I always giggle and interrupt each other as we talked. I felt an ache in my tummy, razor sharp at the thought of Shen. I still remember the day I left. I could see Shen's face pressed up against the glass on the security gate of the airport, blinking furiously. He was trying hard not to cry. I was too. On the plane ride over, they gave us little packets of butter for our bread. Butter is very expensive in China, so I asked for them to extras and put them in my pocket. I saved them for Shen for months in the fridge until it finally sank and that we weren't going back. So I ate them. My mother's voice jerked me back to reality. "Hey Mia, look here. Look at me," she said, smiling. "Huh?" I asked. I looked up to see my mother crouching in front of the front desk, holding her hands up like she was about to take a picture. It's this thing she does. My mom said it's very important to take pictures of nice moments in life, even though it's just in your head. As my mom pressed down on her pretend camera, my dad and I sat up straight and gave her our best smiles. "Eggplant," she said in Chinese, and I giggled. Because even though that's what people in China said whenever someone took pictures, it was funny hearing it in America. As my parents unpacked, I slipped out to find Hank. I brought a cup of jasmine tea. Now that we were making $1.50 a day, surely we could afford to buy some more. I had seen a Chinese supermarket on the way over here. Hank's room was in the back, besides the laundry room. There was a pot of cherry tomato plants in front of his room. I knocked on the door. Hank answered it on the first knock. His eyebrows shot up when he saw the tea. "That's for me?" he exclaimed. I smiled and handed it to him. It's from China," I told him. "Get out of here." The guy next door opened his door to see what's going on. He was a white guy, about the same age as Hank. He wore a Hawaiian shirt and had a tattoo of a sailboat on his arm. The smell of popcorn drifted from his room. "Billy Bob," Hank said. "Meet Mia. She's a new manager. And look, she brought me some tea from China." "Good to meet you, Mia," Billy Bob said, extending a hand. I shook it. "Pleasure's all mine," I said. Billy Bob smiled. "Say, you're a lot nicer than the old manager. The last manager treated us like second-class citizens," Hank added. "Really?" Hank nodded. Carefully, he lifted the cup to his lips and took a sip. "Oh, this is good." Hank turned to Billy Bob. "You gotta try this." More doors opened, and soon all the weeklies were outside, taking and sipping the tea under the glowing crescent. Like Billy Bob, they were white too. Miss Cube had long, wavy hair that ran all the way down her back. Fred had a big belly that shook when he laughed, and Miss T had a glittery cat-eye reading glasses, which she wore on the tip of her nose. Hank was right. They were all very nice. The weeklies asked if I could join them in a game of Monopoly, but it was getting late. I needed to help my parents unpack. I bid them all good night and was about to go back to the manager's quarters when I suddenly remembered. "Hey, Hank, what do you mean earlier about Mr. Yao?" I asked. That he was anything but all right. Hank's jaw locked. "You'll soon find out, kid," Hank said. The man has a cold for our heart. Remember to come back for chapter 4. Goodbye.